music by Jerome. The good thing about Ibiza, you know, my favorite thing about Ibiza is being on the beach and not listening to electronic music. Jerome, beautiful music. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt the beautiful music, but we did come here. Thank you, Becca, for inviting us to share. This is like a therapy session for creative people, or at least me. But no, really great to be here. Thanks again, Becca. And look, we all kind of come from the small business, independent world, the love of culture, food, beach. And so I kind of like everyone to introduce themselves. Everyone's different, but everyone's kind of like got a purpose to make the world a more interesting place and a better place through the creative process. So we got people with labels, you know, books, dreams, that's me. You know, so everyone introduced each other, and sorry for those of you who aren't part of the group, but hopefully you can buy us a drink later and ask us questions, or we'll buy you. And then we can have an open dialogue, and then we'll get back to the music. So I'll stop talking. I'm going to sit down now, and everyone can kind of introduce briefly. We'll start with Johnny.
Hey, John, thank you. So I'm Johnny Lee, and I'm the founder of a charitable organisation called Last Night a DJ to Save My Life. It's a foundation that was set up 15 years ago here in Ibiza, and it was primarily focusing on leading by example and inspiring the dance music community to have more charitable purpose. And we work in many places across the world and focus on disadvantaged youth and using music as a tool to build hope.
Hello everyone, I'm Galia. I'm music producer, DJ. I'm also label founder and label manager and event manager. With the label, we focus on growing artists and discovering artists, and I'm very happy to be in the music business and industry.
Hi there. Hi, my name's Clara Sus. I run a PR agency based between Ibiza and Brighton called Sus Media, which I've been running for just over 10 years. We work with a number of electronic music labels and artists internationally, obviously to boost their profile and obviously on releases, pushing tour dates, etc. But obviously here to talk about vinyl primarily today. Labels and artists we work with, see quite a long list over the past 10 years, but currently it's people like Dan Tenaglia, Balance, Celador, Live at Robert Johnson, Compact, quite a nice range of people basically, and it's quite interesting that the transformation and the artists and labels which are releasing vinyl more and so much less, which we'll be talking about today, no doubt. Thank you very much for having me today.
Hi everyone, my name is Seamus Morley. I'm 40 years in now in the music industry, so long CV, starting when I was 15 in Soho, and starting anew now in Ibiza with a new label that I have with an African artist called Dele Sissimi, and we've just resurrected 1,200 lost albums from all over Africa and have digitized them and are ready to release them. My background includes Left Field, Above and Beyond, and Peter Andre.
¿Funciona? Sí. Mi nombre es Manuel, Capitán Cianuro para los amigos. Soy escritor y vengo de Chile y tengo 14 libros y acabo de presentar hoy día en el IMS el libro de Euphoria, la historia de la música electrónica en Sudamérica, pero específicamente en Chile.
I do the translation first for Manuel. Okay. So Manuel, well, we are both from Chile. He's a writer. He has already 14 books. Today we presented the book Euphoria, the golden years of electronic music in Chile. Manuel is a very important promoter. He made the Love Parade and many other important things for us in Chile. He's one of the biggest figures for us that come from Chile, inspirational. He was from the beginning. Well, my name is Felipe. I'm an artist from Chile. I've always got involved with all kind of projects, always in the music part. I was 10 years working at the biggest promoter company in Chile, where I got to work with Seamus and many other artists. And today we have a cultural center in the desert with John, where we promote, where we give space for all kind of art performances, theater, poetry, and music.
Well, thank you. I think we have a great group, and we have also some amazing people in the room. Colin, shout out. I met Colin in Alberta, and as I was dreaming of one day telling my story, he also was very inspirational. He's got some great books back here, and hopefully we can have that conversation here online and offline. And I'm going to start in my own tangential way, although I'm the moderator. And look, we're all in a creative world, and we're trying to make it a better place. But today, I have songs come into my head, like I feel like Rain Man sometimes, but I'm going to quote a couple song lyrics, and you can all answer in your own way about the challenges of being creative and the issues in our world. And so I was listening to Depeche Mode earlier today, Everything Counts, and it's a song that inspired me in the 80s because the song starts with, the handshake seals the contract. From the contract, there's no turning back. Other parts of the song, the grabbing hands grab all they can, all for themselves after all. It's a competitive world. Everything counts in large amounts. So I think that speaks to the challenge of a promise, making it real by contract, and still everyone wants a piece. And I think it's great that we start, since you're trying to do it altruistic, because we live in a capitalist world, so respect for doing something charitable. We try to find that balance. So whatever that means, either don't answer the question or speak to the challenges of being correct, trying to paper it, and still dealing with everyone wanting a piece of you, for better or worse. Or a little or a lot to that.
Yeah. Well, I think in our world that what we're dealing with and trying to be more altruistic, then it's a very different type of contract that we're entering into. It's more one filled with compassion. So outside of it being a commercial contract, it's a contract of compassion with the people that we work with. And then them really feeling into the difference that they can make on other people's lives rather than their own life.
Love it. And that's the whole conversation.
Well, I can speak for myself, and I'm always trying to surround myself with people and work with people with whom I don't need to sign contracts.
And how does that work out?
Very good. Until now.
Well, you look trustworthy, but still, I mean...
Well...
No, that's good. No, but you see the point. And I mean, all of us here,
I think the key thing is, everyone's, people all are into music for different reasons. I think in terms of altruistically, and obviously some people are in it just to make money and be famous. Some people just say, I want to be behind a big, I want to have my arms aloft in front of thousands of people and have lots of money and VIP stuff. Which, to be honest, if that's your main reason, fair enough for some people, but that's certainly not the kind of reason why we work with people. We work with people who are in it for money, are in it for the love of the music, the passion. Basically, they just want to get their music out to people. They want to see people happy, engage with people. And ultimately, those are the people that probably I want to work with. I want to maybe do a contract with, whether it's verbal or written, because those are the people that are nice people. They're not going to then turn around and be divas or demanding. And ultimately, I've always had a rule where I only work with people, nice people. I think life's too short to work with people who are just going to drain your energy.
That's a great comment, because I think a small business is like a family, and it's not like you should paper everything. However, so it starts with that. And actually, Depeche Mode, Daniel Miller. It's funny because when I got to know Daniel Miller, I'm like, what? You didn't have a contract with Depeche Mode? Are you kidding me? And they went almost 10 years. And I was with a guy called Rich Houghton, and Daniel's like, eventually you should sign a contract. I'm like, Okay, Daniel, but wow, the handshake lasted 10 years, or amazing. But it starts like that with a small business, right?
Funnily enough, actually, in terms of contracts, I mean, this I can only speak at it from the sort of PR and press point of view. Obviously, everyone's very different, and certainly if I was putting on a big festival, I'd want contracts. But in terms of us, I mean, say we've been doing it for over 10 years, and you know, the only people who've really stipulated contracts. It's actually in Germany, so it's funny that you're actually mentioning in terms of, you know, it's like that audience. Whereas I think it's very much just what you do. But everyone else, I mean, we sort of do it so it's like, you know, obviously everything's in writing and legally binding in that sense. But thankfully, touch wood, we've never been burnt. But like I say, that goes back to really working with nice people, not people who are going to stab you in the back, run off when you've done loads of work for them.
Yeah. Seamus, handshakes, contracts, what do you know?
Handshakes all the way. It's funny enough, I've worked with Depeche Mode's long-time agent, Dan, from VAT, and they never had a contract. Just so, you know, there you go, within that. All the artists I work with, I still work with emotionally, whether it's I'm working on the project myself or just there as an emotional crutch for them. My dear friends above and beyond headline Coachella the last 2 weekends. I've worked with them for 17 years. I can't tell you how proud I was when I watched the video. I couldn't be there, but I watched the video on Thursday night, and the boys actually messaged me from the side of the stage going, dude, we're just about to go on. And, you know, no contracts, just the love. And I don't like trance, you know, but I love Above and Beyond. Left Field, I'm still working with after 25 years. Most of the producers, music is an emotional connection. It just is. Wow. You know, what more can I say? What more can I say than
that? I have to apologize for provoking, because I mean, we have dreamers and builders, and I'm the guy who's always looking for. Anyways, it's great to have you guys on
However,
stage.
I will say there is always room for a contract.
Okay, now you're talking to the business, John. I hear you.
There is always room for a contract, because with the love and the handshake, the contract can just go, and by the way, this is what we agreed at the time. Yeah, and it's a reminder. Now, that reminder can be ripped up and go to court and all of that, but I still think it's a valuable asset within the relationship.
Contratos y promesas y las cosas de corazón.
Yo siento que en un mundo individualista, me imagino que hoy día la gente se tiene desconfianza y anda buscando dónde poner la firma justamente para que el otro cumpla. Vengo de un pueblito muy chico donde uno decía a una hora y se llegaba a esa hora. Si se decía me prestas 10, se devolvían los 10, no se arrancaban, no se enojaban cuando llamaban por teléfono para decirle, oye, me debes 10. Entonces creo que por un lado, ese individualismo nos hace perder la confianza y no de buenas a primeras creer en la palabra del otro. Y eso es muy peligroso, porque al final del día estamos como estamos justamente porque hemos perdido la confianza en los otros. Y los otros también, por alguna razón, que ya es cultural, empiezan a perder la confianza en cada uno de su entorno. Sería bueno que no solamente a lo mejor en estas instancias, muy buena la pregunta por lo demás, en las instancias que uno vaya creyendo o creando, pueda ir generando puntos de confianza. Es difícil porque vivimos una cosa además muy rápida y muy llena de mentiras. Entonces la desconfianza nace justamente por la mentira que hemos ido generando hacia el otro. Yo creo que por ahí va el tema. Entonces, por eso hay que poner tantos contratos, y ya no solamente son los contratos, sino poner cierto tipo de cosas y tener amigos para mandarle a esos que no cumplieron el contrato los amigos.
Oh, no, gracias. And I hopefully we mostly understand Spanish, but Felipe, do comment, and then.
Oh, it's gonna be very
Yeah, I think you get the point. Everyone's coming at from their area, and I love my artist friends. No, Felipe, you're welcome to comment, but I think hopefully.
I think the best things start without a contract, because you're just like dreaming. I don't know. Few times I've done contracts at the beginning. It's good to have a contract, as you say, because it's a reminder. But like passion doesn't have contracts, and when you're like feeling it and you're doing it with your friends and everything and true things, I'm pretty sure never have had contracts.
Those are great comments. I think an idea is not like, I run into people with a business idea and then they're going to make it happen, as opposed to I'm going to make it happen and I'll figure it out later. But hopefully you do it sooner than later. So look, we got a nice intimate group, and thanks for not interjecting. But if you want to, if you want to get into the combo, yeah, please. Because I mean, I'm bereft of ideas and questions. And
No way.
well, I'm trying to be a moderator, Seamus. Thank you. It's not my one-man show dialogue. I do have jokes, but later at the bar, I'll practice my jokes. So great comments, and one of the things, like all these things, like, what gets you motivated, but we can get the conversation going. I see like very excited people. Please. Yes, I wasn't looking. Because you can be on video if you come up.
You
Mike.
project very well.
I'm Clara's partner at Six Media. I'm also a lyricist and a singer and guitarist. In fact, I was playing just there on Easter Sunday. And for me, lyrics are a really, really important part of what I do. And if you want to know if your favourite music star is a good person or not, listen to the lyrics. And listen to what the lyrics say. For Depeche Mode, there's so many about let me show you the world in my eyes. All of these messages of love in the second person. But that one in particular, between Daniel Miller and between that, look at all of the other artists, look at all the comparable artists and the peers that did sign those contracts. Look what happened to Prince, look what happened to George Michael. Look, Daniel Miller, Meat Records, Depeche Mode, they just had that through the shared vision, shared trust, shared understanding.
Excellent comments. Paul Simon, The Coast. It's a lonely life, and that is worth some money as an artist. Well said. Does anyone want to argue against his point? Great point. Or speak to it. Anyone?
Well, we did. We applauded.
Yeah, okay.
There's no way
Oh,
to do it, but
wow, amazing.
that is the point.
Anyone? But so maybe until we what was I don't know what was the idea that made you want to do this? Like, did you have that Damascene moment of like, damn it, I heard the record, or how did you come up with this and why did you do it? Like, maybe what was the core idea? And I kind of know, writing your first book or your first sort of, what was that little trigger for you to do what you do?
Well, it all started when somebody actually put me up for an event called the Great North Run, which was a half marathon. Many moons ago, for like 18 years ago, and I wasn't a runner. I mean, I'd dance all night long, but I'd never done any sport. And I did that, and it's the world's largest half marathon. There's 52,000 other people in that event, and everybody was running for a cause, doing it for somebody or something. And whilst I was within that run, just the realization of this community of other people that weren't necessarily my dance music tribe, but they were all doing something for somebody, and it made me reflect on what was I doing in my tribe? What were my tribe doing to make it? What was my tribe doing to make a difference? And yeah, perfect. what was my tribe doing to make a difference? And after I completed that run, I did a post-marathon party. I got some DJs and musicians involved, and they fundraised, and we doubled my fundraising amount. And lots of people came up to me and said, well, we should do more of this. So the spark was then to just do some research in the electronic music industry, and I couldn't find much evidence to suggest that there was any charitable acts going on. People seemed to be embracing it like the live music industry did way back when Live Aid happened in the mid-80s. And there was evidence that that's just continued. But in electronic music, it not seemed to hit. And it was just, then my bubble was popped as if, oh my God, we're just a bunch of hedonists and we're not actually giving a shit about anything else. It is actually about us and us having a good time. And that didn't sit well with me because I'm such a believer in music, and that on those dance floor moments when there has been that empathy, be it drug-fueled or not, there felt like there was this potential that we were a community that could change the world. And therefore it was, right, well, if it's not happening, let's just get a group of people together and lead by example and make that change happen ourselves.
That's amazing. And I love meeting people and sharing the inspiration and the drive, because it's not always about the money or the contract. And so, Galia, why were you not satisfied just making music, being an artist, being a DJ, doing a label? What made you keep taking all these steps?
Well, when we started the label 10 years ago, was with few friends of mine, and the drive was that we were producing a lot of music, but we couldn't get to the big labels or to any labels. Nobody was listening to the demos. So at the end, we just said, like, we just make our own label and we just release our music. So that's how it started. We still don't have a contract, and we do a lot of events and everything together. But the label now is focused mainly of releasing young artists, unknown, most of them. We also have big releases with big names, but we are trying to do for the young artists what we didn't have before. So yeah, that was the main reason, was to release our own music, because we needed the place to share what we do.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to do it yourself, you know. I mean, yeah. So here you are, and amazing, you know.
I think another one about the DIY ethos here. When I was at university in the UK, Glasgow University, I'm Scottish, although it doesn't really come across in my accent. I was really into electronic music, because I was really into going to see bands. I wanted to be a journalist, but at the same time, friends who were doing club nights, at the time Glasgow had a really exciting DIY sort of club scene. And people were saying, like, friends of mine were putting on nights. I was lucky I had, like, the Arches, the Sub Club, a lot of places, sadly, that are no longer there. And they were putting on, like, friends were basically using all the money they had and probably all maxing their credit cards to bring artists they really wanted. And it wasn't like big names. It was they were taking some challenge. They were taking some risks. And obviously, if it hadn't paid off, then they would have lost a lot of money. So, you know, a lot of those artists I loved as well. So I was saying, well, look, I'll help with the PR. You know, I can write. I've got the connections just by chatting to people lots. And yeah, I was helping people, and got things in like lots of the press, not just in Glasgow, but like throughout the whole of the UK, really, just for events in Glasgow. And through that, when we moved to Brighton in 2010, it was a bit of a strange one, because Brighton, which has obviously had a very vibrant music scene and electronic music scene, obviously, Fatboy Slim on the beach, place like the Zap Club, Ocean Rooms had actually closed not long since ago. So the sort of very cool underground electronic scene was very commercial at the time. So I decided to sort of take matters into my own hands and sort of put nights on, and at Patterns, which is probably one of the best underground venues there, booked people at Optimo, who are actually playing at Akasha on Sunday, Ivan Smag, Justin Robertson, Crystal Clear, Michael Meyer. And yeah, it was brought something really new and exciting to Brighton that was missing. Once again, took a huge risk, and it was bloody hard work. Couldn't do it now. I don't know how I did it, actually. And through that, yeah, people just said, well, actually, I'm really interested in what you did. Would you like to work with our artists? But yeah, same again. I kind of took the risk. You know, it might not have worked out with sort of quit the day job. But yeah, I mean, once again, just that belief of I want people to hear good music. A lot of the artists I work with, it's labor of love even. You know, it's fairly lower fees. It's more just to get their music heard because I think the music's so good. I feel passionate about it. I don't want it to vanish without trace. So yeah, I think it's very much about being passionate and driven.
Interesting, isn't it? We're in Ibiza, and it's IMS. And are we the anti-IMS? I'm not sure. Maybe we're with John, so that's possible. You know, I've looked after artists that have played down the road in the big nightclubs. The big nightclubs have changed. They have. It's become a corporate ride, and that's fine. You know, that's okay. You know, but to me, it's become Vegas. There needs to be room for the kids. There really does. Without the kids, we're just a load of old people sitting around talking about what we did and who we are and what we've achieved. I have a 22-year-old daughter. I've got 2 goddaughters who are in their teens. They love music. They love music. They love making music. They love going to parties. They love putting on parties. In London, I'm horrified to hear that more and more small clubs are shutting down every week. I don't have to tell you about Ibiza because we all know. You know, it's where there's that and then there's this, Wom. Thank God for Wom, eh? But Wom has a license till midnight. Where do the kids go and party until 6 in the morning? Where do they play? Who's going to give them a chance to play? I love it that you're putting out music and the kids are making and giving them a chance. You know, my clients, Left Field, Above and Beyond, they started with their own labels as well. They did because you know, back then they started their labels because nobody else wanted to put their music out. So they went, well, fuck it, we'll put our music out. We need to do something about costs and venues and not 25 euros a drink. And if Amnesia closes this year, which, you know, let's be very, very honest, it's on the verge, you know, and that's happened by manipulation. And I'm saying that because I've done this all my life as a living. If Amnesia closes, what are we left with? We're left with, well, we all know. We can see the posters when we come out of the airport.
I may not go to the funeral. I don't think they're altruistic.
But, you know, well, the kids, let's say the kids, you know, they'll just set Ibiza on fire maybe and start off somewhere else. But yes, John.
I hear you 95%. But yeah, I mean,
I'm with let's give the kids a chance. Let's give the underground a chance. Let's give that's where Depeche Mode's start. That's where Left Field's start. And without that, we're just left with a lot of gluttonous
the grabbing
DJs.
hands grab all they can.
Me voy a tirar. No. A ver, yo creo que cuando uno parte haciendo o teniendo un oficio, si quieres vas traduciendo.
When you just start and you have a ¿Se escucha? When you just start and you have a small purpose like a thing.
¿Ya? Vas buscando un camino, ¿no? Ese camino te empieza a llenar. Yo fui
You go looking for a way, and that way starts to fill you, you know.
¿Ya? Hice producciones de eventos, pero siempre estuve escribiendo. Generaba producciones y escribía mis producciones.
He was a promoter, but he would always be writing and documenting what he was doing.
Y escribo, y esta es como la respuesta a la pregunta, escribo porque quiero dejar un registro para aquellos que se olvidan de la historia. La historia tiene registros.
He writes because he wants to leave a memory,
Yes.
Something for the culture, for the history.
Y lo que más me impresiona es que en los tiempos que vivimos hay mucha gente que olvida de dónde se nace, para dónde se va a ir y de dónde estamos. Entonces eso es lo que uno tiene que rescatar en la escritura.
Se empieza a poner difícil.
People forget where they come from. And it's funny, today when we had Luciano, if I may, as I become very dear friends with Cianuro and Felipe, it started in 1994 with 100 people, and Cianuro did the biggest party, and there was an official connection with all the German artists, and he did the Love Parade with his collective, and the largest party ever in Chile, pretty much 1 million people, Love Parade 2006. Wow. And at the same time, he wanted to document the story, hence the book, and such a pleasure. I was honored to write the foreword, and I was there, but amazing, because even with 1 million people, you're thinking, how can I leave that story? So it's great that you're here today and sharing these thoughts.
Y cierro. El escribir te permite alimentar el espíritu, porque yo escribo, me alimento, pero también te entrego un alimento a ti cuando me lees. Hay un pintor que dice, cuando termino con un cuadro, un pintor chileno que es muy famoso en Mata, cuando termino con un cuadro, termino dándome cuenta que eso no es mío, sino de todos ustedes. Cuando yo escribo, cuando después lo leo, siento que están todos ustedes involucrados, y ya no es mi lectura solamente ni mi escritura.
I can't translate that, but yeah, I mean, okay. And so meeting, getting to know you, having met Colin, you know, like, oh yeah, okay. Louis wants a photo op. I think you should come on the video. A dear friend, first time in Ibiza, Louis from Venezuela, Miami. Come up. Man, hey, you come back. We're going to hire you as a translator. We'll pay you with food and drinks.
Sounds perfect. Feed me drinks, I'm happy.
Cuéntame.
So he said that a famous Chilean painter has a saying that when he finishes a painting, he realizes the painting is no longer his. The painting is everybody's. So that's how he feels about the way he writes the book. That when he was done writing the book, he felt like he wrote it for everybody else. He didn't write it for himself.
Buy this man a drink, everyone. Louis new, but we need people like Louis and his energy here. I'm so glad you came. Oh, now he's going to sit at the table. Okay. So again, great that we have a couple people who are writing the story, helping people issue the story, because I think, I learned a lot from South American literature, and it's just been amazing being inspired by the people who are helping document that. So it's a pleasure to be here, and we'll get you on a panel, Colin. We'll get this right. But he's got books back here for those of you who are really into this. And at least we're not provocative, because I see some people just texting, but that's okay. You don't have to listen to us. I'll tell you jokes later. Maybe one more question, and I forgot it because I was trying to be funny. Oh, yes, I remember now. We'll end this soon because I want to hear nice music. So, living in a capitalist world. And actually, again, you're always great because you're a little different with your, the fine line between having enough money, because to me, the capitalist John thinks money is freedom. But sometimes it sucks to manage your money. But that's what I do. So can you speak about the challenges we have about doing what you want to do, but still, I would do shit for free, except, damn it, I have to pay my rent. So, I would DJ for free, except I don't, only privately. But, so how do we find the balance between making money, or in your case, making money? And I've been solicited by charities, and I don't know if you publish, but everyone should be transparent. Private businesses don't have to be. But you need a stipend to live on, and I have a problem with charities that are opaque and the guy's flying first class. I hope, hopefully that's not you. I don't think you don't strike me as that. But talk about that fine line between having enough money to do what you want, for you to afford it, but also do the good things that you want to do, or be able to take care of your artists. It's everyone has their own stories, and So you know where I'm going. So where's that fine line about not having to beg for money, raise for money, but be able to afford to do the work you need to do, whether it's charitable or business, and pay your artists, right?
Well, in my, for instance, as a charity, it's one of the hardest things to create is the actual funds to pay the team. It's one thing raising funds to build a freshwater well or help some disadvantaged young people, then people will donate towards that. But to try and get people to donate to pay the organisation's admin costs is a very different thing. And yeah, when I first started it, and I'd got a family as well, and I ran up £40,000 worth of debt on credit cards just because I believed in this so much and thought if I show that level of belief and passion, then the other people that I'm trying to inspire who may have more philanthropic ability to be able to donate will see that as a quality in the person who's asking them for the finance in the first place and see my passion, and that's ultimately what happens. So then we've got certain, in a lot of cases, individuals who've backed our work of what we do, so they will privately donate towards our core costs, and then the public, when they donate to the various campaigns and things, then all those funds go to the actual cause. They don't have to worry about paying our wages, you know. So whatever I get, I'm more than satisfied with, and to go from zero to where I am now just keeps me fueled to be able to keep doing. Yeah.
Well, I don't. I'm still trying to find the balance between, but yeah, as an artist, I can say I had really hard times with money, but I decided that if I go to do and work something else, yes, I will have the money, but I always made a decision to not do it and to have less, but have my time to work on music. So for me, freedom is in money. Of course, you can do a lot of things with money, but also money can be prison. So the balance is there, somewhere near in between. I hope I find it, but it's always like.
Compliments. I think that honesty, you know, like, and sometimes it's not about faking it till you make it, and Ibiza's that island. And so, again, great to have this conversation. We will play music soon. But thank you. That honesty is painful, but, you know, it's not lying to each other. You know, oh man, my party was full. All my parties are always full. And yet promoters come and go. I mean, you know, or, you know, it's a struggle to get paid and trust your artists, and then you're just paying out sometimes very little money. But that's a very honest answer, and I think that's important. You know, in a room like this, you know, if you're in a big hall, we can pretend, you know, I'm raising millions, call me.
Yeah, it's a huge balancing act. Sorry, we're getting a bit tangled up here, actually. I mean, I think, being honest, I think we all. I know I still find it, and you know, I do feel as Theo, my partner, and also my husband will testify this. You know, it can be quite stressful. You know, there's days that, you know, you can't really take your eye off the ball in that respect. You know, you can't be complacent, but at the same time, it's balancing so you're not stressing yourself out, thinking, oh, you know, I don't want to sort of, you know, you want to be able to enjoy having a day off, going on holiday, you know, spending time with your family and your loved ones, but also, you know, you don't want to be like, oh, well, you know, 2-week holiday, not check my emails, and you come back and all your artists and clients are like, well, the bleep. You know, so you do, I find what I've learned, and I know this is, I hate using this phrase, but always be kind of hustling. I hate using that phrase, but, you know, make sure that there's always ticking along, because you might get an artist who suddenly goes, I'm really sorry, you know, I'm having to put everything on hold because of something personal, because they're having problems in the studio, or just life, you know, in general, unfortunately. You know, things do, you never know what's around the corner. Look at COVID, you know. So, you know, you kind of need to plan, But at the same time, for me, as I've mentioned, and everyone here, I work with a lot of artists and labels that I love, whose music I want people to hear, but they've got small budgets. They're basically just kind of, we're not paying for us to fly first class or anything. But obviously we do need to have artists, as we work with some larger labels and artists who obviously do, can pay more of the sort of day-to-day running costs. But I think the key thing is basically be good at your job and be honest and be a nice person, so that the artists and labels and all the people we work with want to work with us, the press want to speak to us. Whereas if you kind of just get complacent and think, oh yeah, whatever, just send an email out and yes, someone will write about it, then you're just going to fall apart. So it's just be really passionate and focused all the time. But yeah, it's a challenge. There's definite balance.
Thank you.
When am I going to get a proper job? Oh my God. 40 years.
Is anyone here hiring Seamus after all his success?
40 years
job?
now. Do you think I'm capable of doing anything else? I think the point is, the music business, people look at it and go, oh, well, it's the music business, It's not really a business, is it? It is a business. It is.
It's a hard way to make an easy living.
Yeah. It is a business. You have to be top of your game when you're doing it. You, as a songwriter, you need to write hits. You need to, if you're writing underground techno records, you need to write the best underground techno records that when are played on the dance floor, they hit the dance floor and everybody goes, oh, wow, what's that? I remember hearing the Camel Fat track Cola the first time. Defected Records' biggest ever record, actually. Now, Defected, as we all know, fantastic British label, putting out their sound. Now, when I first heard that record, I wouldn't have necessarily gone, that's the Defected sound with that particular record. But that record was their biggest ever selling record. And let me tell you, paid for a lot of people for their jobs at Defected Records over the years after that. It's a business, and we have to treat it like a business. It's difficult, yes, it is. Do not get into this if you're faint-hearted.
Great example. And some people are so underground that they have no fans or make no money. And I don't think that's romantic in a capitalist world.
No, it's not gonna.
Great, honest comment.
It's not going to pay for my paddling pool in my
Or
apartment.
your tennis. I mean, we
Or
spend
my
a lot of money on
tennis.
tennis. I met Seamus through tennis, and
But
it took
now-
me a year and a half to realize what the hell you did.
But now I'm really interested to hear, how do you make a living from electronic music in Chile? Which just so everyone knows
That's
where
why they're in Spain.
Just where everyone knows where Chile is. Chile is the bottom of South America. Literally, you just follow the west coast down, and that's Chile all the way. It is beautiful. It goes from desert to mountains. Santiago is you have to go there. You have to party with the people. You have to eat with the people, be with the people, and let's hear about making a living out of electronic music in Chile.
No se vive. Se sobrevive, no se vive. Ya.
He's saying you survive, you don't live.
Quiero entender que tu pregunta es pasión versus finanza. ¿Estoy bien?
Yeah, the razor's edge. Money
Okay.
versus passion.
La pasión, en el caso mío de escritura, me lleva a la paz. La finanza me lleva a los problemas que me provoca la
Teach me.
guerra. O sea, no... es difícil, y ahí te puedo contestar también. Yo no soy DJ, pero sé que los DJ en Chile, por lo menos, o se van... Luciano digo, porque Ricardo nunca se fue. O sea, Ricardo se hizo en Alemania y vino a Chile ya con un currículum. Pero Luciano se hace. Pero Luciano para mí es muy ejemplo.
Oh, so basically, any big DJ that comes out of Chile leaves. They can't stay. It's not feasible there. Ricardo Villalobos made his career in Germany and then came to Chile, whereas Luciano is from Chile and that's where he stopped.
O sea, y esto es una infidencia, porque Luciano rompía los esquemas, o sea, se peleaba con los vecinos por poner música a las 4 de la mañana, él le mandaba a la policía y él decía que la música era su pasión, que le importaba muy poco que los vecinos se despertaran a medianoche.
Yeah, so Luciano would get shut down by the cops always. He was very different from the norm. At around 4 a.m., the cops would be at his house, and his argument was, I love music, I want to play music, I don't care what the neighbors have to say.
Y él sí empieza a moverse, bueno, tiene un poco el paraguas de...
He started after the dictatorship, or he
Claro.
wouldn't have gotten away with that.
Tiene un poco el paraguas de Ricardo bastante, pero se empieza a mover hacia el mundo, porque tiene también a su padre en Suiza, porque su madre es chilena suiza, entonces tiene la posibilidad de moverse y se va metiendo en círculos que lo van haciendo posesionarse lo que es hoy día, pero ellos son la excepción de muchos. Bueno, Francisco Allende también logra salir, se viene a radicar primero a Barcelona y después termina en Ibiza. Pero hay muchos muy buenos DJ que se quedaron porque justamente no se puede vivir de... El DJ generalmente hace otro oficio y toca en un club, y los DJ en el tiempo que yo me puse a hacer eventos, a producir eventos, es por un desafío. Al DJ se le pagaba con una cerveza y la plata para el taxi. Entonces, estamos hablando del 95, 96. Yo para vertir eso dije, le voy a pagar al DJ la cerveza, el taxi y algo para que pueda comprar vinilo. Ya. Y ahí partimos haciendo otro tipo de formas, que era que el DJ, si quiero yo que toque algo vigente, tiene que tener el vinilo del sello que está en el momento.
So he began to explain that someone like Luciano was able to make it in the industry because his parents are Swiss, or his mom's half Swiss, so he had the resources to be able to leave. And then there's other DJs that also made it because of their connections in their family or resources in their family. But in his experience, the DJs were only paid enough to have a beer at the bar and get the cab back home. So you don't make a living as a DJ in Chile. He started making a difference. Last thing he said was he started making a difference because he would pay a little bit extra so they could buy more vinyls and come back with more music. But you don't make a living. You just sustain the career that way.
That's a great comment, because the scene in Chile, and there were people who loved music enough that paid the artists a little bit, and right now they're not. The minor leagues are getting crushed, and people who have a passion aren't earning money. And so
Look, this was a great
John,
conversation.
can I add on this one?
please, with
Yes.
Felipe. I mean, we have two translators, so it's good.
En esta, this I can add a little bit because I am an artist in Chile. Luckily, I'm a very good paid artist when I play, but that means I get paid maybe 300 euros for a good night. In average, we work for 50 or 80. We take a plane or we take a bus. Maybe I've taken 12-hour bus for a 200 euro show, or maybe less. So you have to have a lot of passion for what you do. It's very difficult. Most of the people, as Manuel said, they want to pay you, like, still till today, they want to pay you 50 euros and 2 covers at the bar, or, well, maybe now a bottle at the bar. But for the kids, it's very difficult to make a living from this. That's why most of us end up on the promoter side. Like, if you really look at yourself, like, you have to do something else. You have to be the promoter. When I started, also, I had to make my own parties because I didn't have a place to play. Now, luckily, the kids have a lot of places to play, but
can I say the parties that you made enabled me to bring Above and Beyond to Chile, or my big acts, and then get paid in US dollars. So all those underground parties that you guys had been working on for the many years enabled the festival to come and then the bigger artists to come. But without that underground, there would be no festival, no big above and beyond, no Armin van Buren, no nothing.
But sorry, but in Chile, I think it happens everywhere. But we pay much more for the artist that comes from outside, and a lot of times I see my colleagues that we earn a little bit, but then comes this Spanish guy that he's been playing for 1 year, but he plays in Barcelona, you know, or he plays in Ibiza, and then we
And I thank you as a promoter for inviting me and paying me as an international DJ. So I'm buying drinks for you guys.
and they get paid much more than many other colleagues that are much more talented, equally talented. And then I want to add this: we have this very big disease that I think the industry has, that is the agents, because the agents are doing something that's very bad for the scene, because you used to have a club where inside the club you had a DJ, you had some dancers, you had decoration, you had many people that were involved and got money from the night, but now all of the money is going to one person, so the clubs don't anymore. We're not building dancers, we are not building decorators, we are not building all of the things that the nightlife used to have. And then you have the agents pushing this, and they trick you, because the agencies have like, oh, we have this super big artist, so for you to bring this big artist, you have to bring these 10 small artists that, as I said, nobody knows them, you know? Nobody knows them, but you have to pay 2,000, you have to pay 2,000 euros for someone that comes just because he's from Barcelona or from the UK or from the States. You have to pay them 3,000, and so this ecosystem is getting like squeezed and pressured. I really blame the agents, because they really trick you. And you know what happens?
You have an agent on your panel.
Becca, you know what? This was supposed to be a positive therapy session.
It's okay.
And so if we had agents, we'd all pick on them. So, Felipe, amazing. I don't believe in this trickle. Culture is not trickle down from those whole. If anyone wants to talk on the mic, yeah, come up, because, and then whoever wants to talk, you can talk, and then we're gonna play music, and then we can commiserate over drinks privately. That's what I do at nightclubs. I don't always flirt at nightclubs. I usually complain about.
Can we say one more thing?
Please. I mean, I'm not the last. Please, anyone last
Can
word.
we just put a big thank you out to Becca from who's put this together? And vinyl is strong, and vinyl is going, and we all still believe in vinyl. And For the Record can be found online, and you can buy all your vinyl there.
Yes, please. Do you want to be on camera? Come up. No, we don't want to be on camera. Oh, shout, so everyone can hear you.
No, I just have a question. It refers back to what you were saying beforehand about all of the money going to the big artist and everybody else suffering. Yeah. So my question is kind of broader, and that is, in Ibiza, if we stopped having the Marco Carolas, the Solomons, all of these really big guys, and we just basically said, we don't want you anymore. What does the panel think would happen to the island? What would happen if we suddenly switched off?
Well, the island has road races, the Iron Man. It has also a spiritual side and holistic side.
I can go first.
I mean, it's.
I literally can go first, because I literally was talking about this in the last week. I have an emotional attachment to Amnesia, the club, because I did Thursday night at Amnesia for 12 years with one of my artists above and beyond. It was 30 euros to get in. It was 10 euros for a drink. Yeah, it was above and beyond in the main room. Calvin Harris on the terrace. 7,000 people every Thursday. Bang. Boom. As we all know, it's different now. I saw the people who run Amnesia the other week, and we had a conversation about what's going to happen. My answer to them would be, and I hope they hear this, and I would say this to anybody running a large club in Ibiza. Well, maybe there's not that many, but I would 10 euros on the door and 15 euros for a drink, and let the kids in, and book the kids DJs, not the superstar
And
DJs.
Book Akasha's maybe a good example of
book
that.
the kids DJs, let the kids, let the underground DJs come. 10 euros on the door, 15 euros for a drink. Bang! You'll have a line going around Amnesia 3 times.
And Seamus just showed you why we didn't have agents on this panel.
It's actually following on from that. So obviously I was just from sort of...
They're all buried in one great comment.
Like,
I love you, Matt Rodriguez, if you're listening.
just being honest and everything, but just from a sort of PR and press point of view, obviously everything's completely evolving. And just sort of being honest, I think, you know, it used to be to get people, you see people going through the ranks, you know, starting from, you know, kids playing to small numbers, you know, smaller clubs, rising up to being the headliners, superstars. If you look at it, if you look at the people, you know, you've made Marco, Crollo and Solomon, they've been having residencies here for what, 10 plus years? You know, there's and the rest, exactly. So, but there are still some people coming through. But I think the thing, I mean, not once again, not necessarily my type of music, but Ben Hemsley, for example, people like Hannah Lang, who once again that sort of 90s sort of trancey sound. But you know, it's the kids who are supporting them, and I think what's important is that the people, you know, we don't just push these big superstar DJs. And I think part of the problem is there's less press these days. So many of the magazines, websites, especially print magazines, have fallen by the wayside. They want to sell covers. So, yeah, they are going to put on your big superstar DJs, Peggy Goo or, you know, your kind of Solomon on the cover because that's what sells. But, you know, taking risks and having these names and ultimately then having a fairer ecosystem as well. But it's getting increasingly harder, and obviously we see that when there are nights or venues that try and think outside the box, like Akasha, you know, they're obviously up against the big boys.
This has been a good dialogue. I think we should get back to the music, and I like where this is going, and we should have drinks, and you should tell me what you really think. Or I'll tell you. Let's thank you, everyone.